Welcome into this week's edition of the Climate Friday newsletter. Meteorologist John Burchfield here. Now that we are already over 1 week into the month of August, you may be wondering what signs are we seeing for the rest of the summer now that summer is already 2/3 in the rearview mirror. We're going to talk about the weather trends that we're looking forward to for the next couple of weeks into the middle of the month of August and what you can anticipate. Also recapping some historical data on the warmest, coldest, and rainiest months of August. If you're not already subscribed, head to WTOL.com/email. You can get the latest Climate Friday newsletter straight to your inbox each and every week. Now, even though summer is already 2/3 over, August is still a very warm month on average, and our normal August high temperature is around 84 degrees, and that makes it the second hottest month of the year. Statistically speaking, July takes the cake as the hottest month, followed by August, and then June would be the third hottest month of the year. Now, August is also a month of transition. By the end of August, 82 degrees, that high temperature sinks down to the lower 80s, and we see some big changes in the weather from the start of the month to the end of the month that does turn sharply cooler. So what are some of the hottest Augusts on record? This number and this data is looking at the average high temperatures, so those daytime highs that can still surge well into the 90s during the month of August. 1995 has the highest average high. That was the only time we've exceeded 88 for the average high temperature during the month of August. 1947 checks in at number 2 with an average high close to 88 degrees. In recent memory, 2021, an average high over 87 degrees, following behind 1993, 1959, and 1955. All of those had average high temperatures that were well into the mid-80s. And keep in mind, our normal average high for the month of August is around 84 degrees. Now, August can also bring things on the other end of the spectrum, and that features early season cool conditions. 1915 is the coolest average high temperature, which was only 74.1 degrees. Imagine that over the entire course of August. The average high was only about 74. 1885 also in that 74 degree ballpark, and another one from the late 1800s as weather records do date back to the 19th century. You will notice that all of these coolest Augusts on records were in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, so there is some sort of climatological link in that we saw that anomalous cool conditions back in the day, and now things are tending to get a bit warmer during the month of August. So where do we stand as far as the extreme warmth or 90-degree days? So far on the year, we are at over 12 days now and counting. Typically, we average 19 90-degree days over the course of the calendar year, so we have about 7 to make up ground. Now, the record, as we've talked about, is an exceptional record from 1988, where we saw 44 days that exceeded the 90-degree mark. So far, we're at 12 and counting, and perhaps we could get to that average mark with another 7 during the month of August, and sometimes we do even see 90s into the month of September. 12 90-degree days in 2024 so far, and overall the 10-day forecast is going to be devoid of any 90s with a cooler trend into the middle of the month. So what signs are we seeing as we head towards the next couple of weeks, those final weeks of meteorological summer? Well, there is going to be a dip in the jet stream this weekend that ushers in some cooler than normal conditions, not just here in Ohio, but across much of the Great Lakes region. And what does that mean for you? Well, high temperatures are expected to be in the upper 70s for a good portion of the weekend. Those greens and yellows indicate cooler than normal conditions, and the reds and oranges, hotter weather that's going to be confined to the south and southwest. Now, by the latter half of the month, I do think we are going to warm back up, but for at least the next week, most of that warmth going to be confined south and west of us, with cooler than normal conditions expected in the upper Midwest and the plains. Now, here's the outlook for the end of August. That cool condition is going to push off towards the East Coast. Areas like Washington, D.C., New York City, down towards North Carolina is going to be cooler than average. Gray indicates near normal conditions for much of the Buckeye State, and then west of our area, temperatures do start to make a turn towards warmer weather. Now, by the end of August, of course, that normal is down to 82. So normal is all relative, but by late August, we are expecting some temperatures to start to warm back up in parts of the Midwest, especially to the west of us, where we are expecting things to get a little bit milder. Now, of course, we're coming off a relatively cool July, and that is likely to be a trend that's going to continue into August. Recapping that month of July, our average temperature, which factors in both the daytime highs and the overnight lows, was 73 degrees. That was 2.4 degrees below average. So even though cool is relative, during July, which is statistically the hottest month of the year, this July was well below average in the temperature department. So we're coming off a cool July and a trend that is likely to continue into the month of August. In terms of rainfall, July featured just shy of 3 inches of rain, 2.81, and we have had a wet start to the month of August, but July was 0.46 below average. Now, some of the signs that we're seeing towards mid-August do indicate another drier trend that is likely to feature relatively little rainfall, at least through the middle of the month, before perhaps a pattern change unfolds late month. The wettest August on record, 1965, tops that list with close to 8.5 inches of rainfall over the course of the month of August. In recent memory, 2007, that's the only one from the 21st century with 8.26 inches of rainfall. A couple other Augusts with over half a foot of rain, including 1926, 1908, and another one from the same decade in 1903. The first 2 weeks of August, well, we're not looking at a very wet weather pattern, at least for the next couple of weeks, with some changes in the weather. On the other end of the spectrum, some of the driest August, it's actually more commonplace than you may think to receive less than an inch of rainfall during the entire month of August. Hard to believe that over that entire period, we saw only 0.4 of an inch of rain in 76. In 1894, 0.6 of an inch of rain, and a couple in recent memory, 1996. Those of you living in the Toledo area back then, remember that one is a very dry August that featured less than 3/4 of an inch of rainfall. And in 1967 and 1939, similarly dry conditions. Even though we're going to be dry over the next couple of weeks, we did receive a good amount of rainfall already this month, so not likely to be on that top of the list as far as driest Augusts are concerned. Now, some parts of far northwest Ohio are starting to turn abnormally dry. No drought conditions across the area. However, in eastern and southeastern Ohio especially, that is what we call a severe drought. That orange color between Columbus and parts of West Virginia, that is where rainfall is more necessary. In northeastern Ohio, that is a level 2 moderate drought where rainfall has been a little bit sparse lately. This drought monitor gets updated each and every Thursday, and we'll continue to share that information with you on air on WTOL 11. Some of that dry weather has been expanding into northwest Ohio, parts of Huron County and Crawford County, but overall no major drought, as July ended up a little bit drier than average, but nothing too extreme in the precip department. Now, as we look towards the precipitation outlook, by mid-August, perhaps starting to flip a switch and seeing a few more periodic rain chances. The 10-day forecast is going to be relatively dry, but it is possible that we finally do see some more typical summertime thunderstorms by the tail end of the month. If you're not already subscribed, WTOL.com/email, that is going to be the place to go to subscribe to the Climate Friday and all of our newsletters, and you'll get that straight to your inbox every Friday. You can follow along on social media for the latest as well. In the meantime, we will see you next week.